Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and never eat again. No breakfast, no water, no coffee, no lunch. Day after day, week after week, year after year. Now imagine not for a month, not for a year, but for 70 years. That was the life of Prahlad Jani, a humble yogi from India who claimed to live without food and water. Doctors laughed. Scientists dismissed him. The very idea felt impossible. After all, biology teaches us, without water, you die in 3 days. Without food, maybe a few weeks. And yet, here was a man, thin but alive, claiming to be nourished not by bread or water, but by prana, life force itself. But before you reject this as myth, listen. In 2003 and again in 2010, Prahlad Jani was taken into a hospital, surrounded by doctors, monitored 24 hours a day, cameras watching his every move. And what they found shook the foundations of science. Prahlad Jani wasn't famous. He lived quietly in the caves of Gujarat, meditating, practicing austerities. From a young age, he claimed to have received a vision from the goddess Amba Mata, who blessed him with the ability to live without food or water. To most, it sounded like legend. But to his followers, he was living proof of something extraordinary. He would sit for hours, days, in meditation, serene, untouched by hunger or thirst. No meals, no sips of water, no secret storage of food. When doctors heard of his claims, they decided to test him. In 2003, at Sterling Hospital in Ahmedabad, Prahlad Jani was observed for 10 days. 10 days without food or water. Yet his body showed no signs of starvation. No kidney damage. No dehydration. His health remained stable. 7 years later, in 2010, the Indian Defense Institute repeated the test. Saranpidir This time, 15 days. Again, under continuous surveillance, he neither ate nor drank, and yet his urine stopped forming, his body recycled moisture, and his vital signs remained strong. For the doctors, it was a paradox. For Jani, it was simply proof. The body can be sustained by something beyond the physical. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. Science tells us metabolism is fueled by calories. But Jani seemed to bypass this entirely. His explanation: prana, the universal energy of life, flowing through air, space, and consciousness itself. Skeptics argued it was trickery. But the medical reports were real. And modern physics, in its own way, hints at possibilities that sound eerily similar. Quantum biology now explores how cells use subtle energy fields to regulate themselves. Epigenetics shows that genes can be activated by environment, thought, even belief. And researchers in bioenergetics propose that the body is more than a chemical machine. It's an electromagnetic field capable of absorbing energy directly. Could Prahlad Jani have tapped into this hidden system? Could meditation rewire metabolism itself? And think about it. How often do we, in modern life, eat not out of need, but out of habit, boredom, or anxiety? What if hunger itself is partly conditioning, a signal that can be retrained? Exposing the matrix, ada 9 to 17, 12 minin. But here's the darker side. Why did the story of Prahlad Jani remain hidden on the edges of science? Why weren't his hospital tests front-page news around the world? The answer is unsettling. If a human being can survive without food, even for weeks, what does that mean for an industry built on dependency? Food corporations, pharmaceutical giants, even military systems, all depend on the assumption that the body is fragile, endlessly dependent on external resources. But a yogi in a cave? He threatened that model. He represented freedom from the system, and so his story was dismissed, ridiculed, or buried under labels like myth or fraud. Because if you believe survival is possible without consumption, entire economies collapse. To truly grasp this, we must step outside the matrix. Across history, mystics and saints have claimed similar feats. Breatharians in India, Desert Fathers in Christianity, Taoist sages who lived on Qi alone. These weren't isolated cases. They pointed to a universal truth. The body is not sustained only by matter. Prahlad Jani was not just a man in a cave. He was a mirror, a living reminder that consciousness itself can sustain life. That prana, chi, spirit, whatever word you use, flows through everything. While modern society tells you, eat 3 meals a day, consume endlessly, depend on systems to survive, mystics whisper, you are sustained by something greater. So here we stand at a crossroads. On one side, the supermarket, the endless consumption cycle, the belief that you are fragile, dependent, always in need. On the other, the cave, silence, stillness, the possibility of direct connection with the source of life. 2 symbols, 2 futures. One tells you survival is a prison of appetite. The other tells you survival is a gateway to transcendence. Which one do you choose to live by? Now, don't mistake this as a call to stop eating. Prahlad Jani's path was unique, extreme, not meant to be copied blindly. But his story offers a practical reminder that your body is more powerful than you've been told. That meditation, breath, and awareness can unlock hidden reserves of energy. That hunger is not just physical, it's also mental, emotional, spiritual. So instead of consuming endlessly, what if you paused? What if you learned to sit with silence? What if you fed not just the stomach, but the soul? That might be the real teaching of Prahlad Jani. Prahlad Jani lived a life that defied biology, economics, and belief. To skeptics, he was an anomaly. To seekers, he was proof. But the truth may lie not in proving him right or wrong, but in remembering the possibility he represented. That human beings are not slaves to need. That life is more than matter. That spirit sustains flesh. And maybe, just maybe, his story is not about rejecting food, but about rediscovering freedom. Welcome to Fragments of Reality.